Hi guys, and welcome to Brave Dog Training Online. Are you excited that it's finally getting warm and there are so many things you want to do with your dog? Today we're going to talk about summer with our dogs. Do's and don'ts. Enjoy. Alright, so I want to start with the obvious, and it's getting more detailed for problem dogs in just a few minutes, so stay with me. The first very important thing about warm weather and dogs is they cannot stay in the car with closed windows anymore. This can put us in a very tricky situation, especially when we have a dog who cannot stay home alone because of separation anxiety, but he's fine in the car. When it's getting warmer, the car can really turn into an oven, and our dogs perish in there very quickly. So there are a few things that still work, but first have to be tested. So do not do any of these things before testing it, and always take into consideration where you live, how the people are, and how your dog is and what your dog is actually fine with. Alright? But sometimes it works that the windows of your car are open and the trunk as well. But beware that in this situation, everybody can just walk up to the dog and reach for him. So this is something that only works either in a very, very rural area where there are really no people around, or if you are absolutely sure that nobody will walk up to that car, which I would probably not trust in. Alright? A second option would be to use a portable garage. I don't know if it's called that everywhere in the world, so depending on how it's called where you live, it's just a net or a shade plane thingy. It's made of aluminium and it's covering the car completely. And it's providing coolness for the car. I have tested it with my own and it works pretty well. I would still leave the windows open, just to be sure. But again, this is something that has to be tested first. Do not just let your dog in your car and put that thing over and then it doesn't work and then... Right? Another thing when it comes to warmer weather is when and where do we walk our dogs? Like, if we walk mainly on pavement, be aware that pavement can get very, very hot very, very fast. So I like to test it with just my bare foot, walk on it, and if it's fine, I'm gonna walk on it with my dog. If it's not, then not. And again, we can pick the location we're walking in and just choose something that is cooler and just more comfortable. Like if we are walking in the woods, there is much more shade, it's much cooler, and if there is water, perfect, right? And in any case, I would pick either early morning walks or late evening or night walks. Night is sometimes a little bit tricky. Like here, there is no light. There is no light. Okay, there's the moon, but that's it. So it's really, we have no street lights. We are in the woods, so there is actually, it's really dark and more wildlife is active at night. So I wouldn't recommend walking into the woods at night. That's just my personal opinion. But if you live in a city or near a city, it's probably lightened up better, so you can walk later. But these smaller windows of us being able to walk our dogs kind of bring the next tricky thing along. If you're living with a reactive dog or a fearful dog, in summertime there is a lot more going on outside. It's like in winter we have a blanket over the world and just everything calms down, everything's quiet. And in summer everything's highly energetic, everything's just moving and doing things. So there are suddenly a lot more dogs. This kind of happens because the window of being able to walk a dog is smaller, right? In wintertime, if we walk our dog at noon, where everybody's eating, we're probably alone. But in summertime, we just have a few hours we can pick from, and everybody's picking those. So we have a lot more dogs, a lot more people, and this can be tricky. And it can also be great opportunities for training. We just have to pick and choose. If this happens every day, it's probably too much for our dogs. And then we have to just do more decompression walks somewhere in nature where we don't meet anybody. Okay? And if we have a fearful dog, things can also get a lot more tricky because there is a lot more going on and a lot more noise. Like, here there is a neighbor that is doing something with a saw almost all day long, every day. In the city there are more construction sites, there is landscaping going on, there is always some noise and a lot more people out with their kids and with whatever. So there is just more going on. And for a fearful dog, this can be tricky. And again, we are back at we can just do more decompression walks or shorter walks or whatever helps our fearful dog, right? And that's also something we have to consider whenever we are planning trips with our dogs or vacations with our dogs. So we do not overwhelm our dog with that vacation, because then it's not a vacation for us either. All right? And the last point I want to mention is, if we want more garden time with our dogs, which is awesome, our neighbors will probably think the same thing. So if our dogs have issues with somebody talking right next to their own yard, right? We have to work on that. And we also have to work on teaching our dogs to relax outside. It's not a given for many dogs. So if your dog is just a very chilled nature and he can just relax outside all by himself, awesome. If not, you have to train that. And we can use anything that relaxes the dog. Licking, chewing, active relaxation, whatever helps is fine. And then we can have a very awesome garden season with our dogs. Why don't you tell me in the comments what you have planned with your dog this summer, and have a lot of fun training. We'll see each other next time. Bye.